It was a year of celebration as folks returned to something resembling normal. We'll review the events that brought people back together again. I'm Tracy and
I'm Kurt Friesen. Welcome to Lake Area Beat.
What a year, huh?
It has been busy.
It has, and hopefully next year will be better.
That's all we can hope for.
I think so, yeah. For more than 2 decades, White Bear Lake has been hosting the annual Polar Plunge, raising more than $3 million.
370 plungers raised nearly $87,000 in 2021. Take a look.
This is my 3rd year jumping. I do it for the athletes. They are tremendous. I have a family member that's been part of this his whole life, my whole life. We're about the same age. And I look at him as a mentor. Like he just got a heart of gold, and I know all the athletes do too. It's just a great cause and great benefit.
Okay, so here is the commander-in-chief.
It's just nice to have people like Jeff that are like uplifting police officers.
Camaraderie is the best part for me. I know it's creating a lot of memories for a lot of people, and I always look forward to the people who've never done it before. That's always a lot of fun.
The energy is very good. It's just a little different because it's so spaced out. You know, not like normal, but we're just glad to be out here and having it take place this year. We didn't know.
They did it. They listened to you, sir.
Man, a big shout out to my DJ YS, man. Thanks again for the great songs.
I know you've plunged before. I suppose it takes your breath away?
It's actually invigorating. I love it. It's warmer than the air, and you get in there and you're like, oh, I don't want to get out.
I would probably disagree with that, but
so much
I'll
fun.
stay where it's warm, and if you need anything, you guys know where to find us.
All right. Bring some warm towels when we get out.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the worst part. Just days after Thanksgiving, a 15-year-old in Michigan shot and killed 4 students at a high school and left 7 others injured.
After an earlier shooting in 2021, producer Mary Klein talked with you, Tracy, about what we can do and what we should do to prepare for what many of us don't want to think about.
Run, hide, fight. Those are 3 things that we want people to do in an active shooter type situation.
Have you ever thought about what you would do if you were at a fair or a sporting event and someone took out a gun and started shooting? It's a situation we may not want to think about, but mentally preparing for an active shooting may very well increase our chances of survival.
What would I do if I were out with my family? we were at Market Fest, or we're at the beach, where would I go?
On a cold and windy spring morning, we met up with White Bear Lake Police Officer Tracy Menarchek at West Park, a location for summertime celebrations, to talk about imagining the unimaginable.
Sometimes when we are in the middle of chaos, our brains just shut down and we do nothing. And so we don't want you to do nothing. We want you to have a plan. We want you to run first, hide if you have to, and then look around you for weapons to fight with.
According to the FBI, there have been 277 active shooter incidents in the United States from 2000 to 2018. 884 people were killed and more than 1,500 wounded. 2017 saw the highest number of casualties due to the worst mass shooting on the Las Vegas Strip, resulting in 58 deaths and 546 injuries. And just last month, 10 people were shot dead in Boulder, Colorado, including a police officer.
Active shooters want to have the most damage. They want to kill the highest number of people. And as responding police, my job coming into a park like this is to stop the threat, stop the shooter.
Officer Menarchek points out local law enforcement will arrive first, as she said, to stop the threat. They won't tend to the injured or talk to bystanders. She says if you want to help, make sure you have detailed and accurate information to convey to dispatch. If you're somewhere with children, like a park, help get them to safety. And if you can help the wounded, only do so if you're not in the hot zone. White Bear Lake Police and Fire Departments provide CERT training, a community emergency response team, to volunteers, a potentially valuable resource during any emergency.
If you have to fight, you have to fight.
Officer Menarchek says most things we carry, a purse, keys, hands, can be used as a weapon. And if your only option is to fight, be aggressive and commit. The Department of Homeland Security advises recruiting others to ambush the attacker and be prepared to cause severe or deadly injury. FEMA also provides active shooter conversation starters on their website. However an active shooter situation ends, it really begins with being aware of what's happening around you.
And just the mindset of you're going to win and you're going to survive and you're going to get out of here, instead of the mindset of, oh my gosh, what's going on? I don't know what to do, and just standing there. We want you to have a plan.
Like I mentioned, don't want to think about it, but we should.
Yes, we should always be prepared, expect the worst, but hope for the best, right?
Yep.
Coming up after the break, we'll show you the big difference a little giving can make.
Since we're standing out here in the cold, it helps just a little to bring you a story that's hot.
Things heated up quickly during exercise that attracted quite a crowd. Here's that story.
This is where we practice the basics before it's the real deal and it's 3 in the morning and you're tired and you can't sleep. actually inside a house and more realistic.
Do you ever get nervous?
I'd say more excited. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always that a little rush when you go in.
Nice and hot. Dirty. Lots of dirt. Lots of insulation coming out.
It's warm in there, and all the stuff is heavy, but it's a lot of fun. There's not a whole lot of women here today, so it's fun to be out here.
Not terrible. It's all above us, but it's a mess.
Kurt, I know you always enjoy doing live burns.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of work that goes into them, but
There's a lot of prep work, isn't there?
Yeah, there's weeks in preparation ahead of it. It is entertaining. It is fun for us to actually go and train, in as live of a scenario that we can make.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great training. It's exciting. It's entertaining to a certain fact, but there's also a lot of training value in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a lot of work.
Yeah,
So it is good though.
It's good for everybody to get out there and do different things and see how it would be in a real situation.
Yeah, especially with
when they're not under pressure, right?
Yeah, especially with some of the newer members, getting them out, getting them used to how things operate on a fire ground before they actually see a live fire ground. So
Right.
It's good. Yeah, it's very good. The longtime White Bear Lake program is helping supply more than just meals to those who are in need.
Here's how.
Meals on Wheels is, daily contact. Family members love it because then we're keeping an eye on their loved one when they cannot.
Debbie Walker has been running the Meals on Wheels program in White Bear Lake for 14 years. She says the service is so much more than food. It's a way for seniors to stay independent in their homes.
Okay, all right. Great, thank you, Tony.
Drivers get to know their clients and their habits, and Walker can alert family or police if anything appears out of place.
There was a package that was delivered to her front step, and she wanted to go out and get that package, but she waited until she knew that the route driver was going to be there in a few minutes. So then she went out there to get it, and when she bent over to pick up the package, she fell.
This is an example of that extra something, the driver able to help the woman who had a history of falling. The drivers all volunteer, deliver meals 7 days a week, and the program serves 123 clients.
So now we can actually start bringing the meals out to the drivers so that they can all get going.
How are you doing today? Oh, pretty good. You? How was your drive? Good. Okay. That's good to hear. We're doing pretty good. All right. Thank you very much. You're welcome. You have a good lunch. Thank you. You too. All right. Hey, buddy. Come here. Get back here.
Walker says about 65 meals are delivered each day, and delivery has gone up 165% since COVID. The program, available to anyone 18 or older, has received generous support from the community and a great deal of gratitude from clients.
I love the clients, the volunteers, and just the overall atmosphere of the whole. It is just all around good. The clientele that we deliver to, and it does not matter what age they are so appreciative. So it's nice.
We're going to take a break, but coming up,
We'll tell you how you can potentially make a profound impact on many lives.
I think I speak for both fire and police departments when I say we were happy to return to Public Safety Night at Market Fest this summer.
We were, and we weren't alone. The public was happy too, and they had a lot to say about it.
We're at Public Safety Night at Market Fest in downtown White Bear Lake, explaining to people the benefits of stenciling in paint onto your catalytic converters to help cut down on thefts. They've been really bad this past year, and this helps the junkyards identify which catalytic converters are stolen so they can not accept them and call the police.
I'm a catalytic converter.
Yeah.
I had mine stolen last week.
Really? Well, you want to know something you can do to prevent that?
I said thank you for their help in the community because they don't get enough recognition, whether it be them or the Blue. You know, you got to support our community, and to do that, you have to support the people that are supporting us. If you don't have the police and you don't have the fire department, you will run into a lot of issues and you'll never be saved. So you have to respect the blue and the red.
One. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the newest member of the fleet.
We get a lot of support from the community here, which is awesome. It really helps us, love what we do even more. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's very important to share things like that, share appreciation. Especially these days, they don't hear it as often as they should, and that's sad because they sacrifice so much so that we can do things like this. So thank you.
It's a sober reminder to be mindful when you're on the road and appreciate what you have. So
this is it's just important to educate people the dangers of drinking and driving. So this is a tool, just a good visual that people can see what happens if people make a poor mistake, a decision, and drive while they're impaired. This is what can happen and affect other people.
Oh, you got 2 stickers. Look at that. Nice. I like it.
Stuff like this does help. It makes you feel appreciated. It lets you know that there are still a lot of people out there that do support law enforcement. And it is nice to hear it. Like I said, as many times as you do hear it, even me as a CSO, it's still just nice to hear, and it's uplifting for sure.
we need you more than ever.
Thank you all.
We've talked before about how much we've enjoyed getting back into the community, haven't we?
Yeah, it was a good year. We didn't have a full calendar of our normal community events, so
it still felt busy. It felt a little more normal.
It did,
right?
And hopeful that 2022 brings a more normal full calendar of events and continue with seeing everyone out as we do our normal business.
I like that. I hope we get back to more normal.
Yes.
During the season of giving, this next story reminds us how a simple check of a box can help save many lives, though this one came at a devastating cost.
You would think he was throwing away egg cartons, but he was actually stashing them in his closet, as well as milk jugs and everything else. And one day he came downstairs, I think he was about 12 or 13, and he had made a robot. I don't know how long it took him, but it is the funniest thing.
When Dr. Rolanda Schmidt talks about her children her energy seems to take on a life of its own.
I would say 8 months maybe. He had blue eyes when he was born for 2 years, and then they changed to green.
Much of her life is now spent talking about her youngest son, Giovanni.
So there's Gino with my oldest, Gino with Roger's daughter when they were younger.
Giovanni, 18 years old, was intelligent, wise, and living with autism. And Dr. Rowe, as many refer to her, says Gino was always pulling pranks and pushing buttons.
I remember him getting his license, and it took him a while, probably 5 times because of the high-functioning autism that he lived with. But the 5th time he came home, the driver dropped him off, and he said, "Mom, I didn't make it." And I said, "Well, it's okay, Gino. We'll get it next time." He goes, "I'm kidding," So I was like, I just remember those times of him laughing.
Getting his driver's license meant more than just a teenage rite of passage or a sense of freedom. It would eventually come to mean life for as many as 70 people.
I went to go look for him, and I can speak to you calmly right now because I've been through trauma therapy for a year. But I went to find him, and he was hiding behind a door, balled over, like curled up, and he was crying like I had never seen him cry before. And I said, "Gino, what is wrong?" And I rubbed his back, and I told him that I loved him. And he said, "Who's on the phone, Mom?" Those were his last words to me.
Dr. Rowe, on the phone with Giovanni's school, says she walked away from him to answer the door. The school had sent police to their home after his friends told school officials about text messages he'd sent saying he was planning to take his own life. Just moments later, she heard a loud bang.
I don't know if they pulled Giovanni up, but I could hear his last 3 breaths, and that's just all I remember. And I'm like, it must have dawned on me. I said, "Gino," and I'm calling out his name. And it's just something you'll never, ever, ever forget.
The police wouldn't let her back into the house, and she and her husband drove to the hospital, hearing almost immediately from the doctor that Giovanni wasn't going to survive.
I held his hand, and it was just cold as ice. It was cold as ice. I was just like, wow. Like it's a feeling that as a parent, it's just something that you never want to go through. And it will haunt me, forever because I knew he was gone.
Soon after, a nurse told her a representative from LifeSource, an organ procurement organization, was there to speak with them about Giovanni's organ donation.
I looked at my husband and I'm like, "You're going to have to talk to them because I feel like I can't even breathe." And the nicest person came. They made it like such a beautiful process to tell us what would happen at that moment.
Dr. Rowe's attorney had been on the waiting list for a kidney for almost 4 years, and it was the first person they thought of when talking about his donation. It turned out he was a match.
How does that happen? So we've asked him for a bill since, and he won't send us a bill. So, yeah. So Gino gave life and wiped out our attorney bill, I guess.
A 20-year-old received Giovanni's heart, someone his liver and skin, and another his eyes. She's written to the recipients through LifeSource and waits and wonders if she'll hear from them, for it's up to the recipient whether or not to respond.
Whoever has these eyes, I want to see them someday. So, I'm sure that they're just as handsome on them as they were on him, or she.
Everywhere you look, there are reminders of Giovanni on walls around every corner.
And there's G again. He's just, it's, the memories will never leave.
And even on furniture, his dog Roman waits and wonders if his person will return.
I think he can still smell him. I do. I don't know how, but he wore this thing like almost every day with the autism spectrum, I think of it, creature of habit.
Dr. Rowe's pain is raw, and she questions herself daily, wondering if there was more she could have done to save her son.
Some days I blame myself. Like, was I a good mom? What could I have done? Just all of those things go through your head.
Part of her journey is sharing her story through motivational speaking in her podcast, Uncovering Truth with Grace, relying on her faith and knowledge that through his death, Giovanni has given the gift of life to many, and she hopes someday she'll get to meet those who now live through him.
I'd like to know because he saved lives, and I just want to know how he lives on and who he lives on in.
We feel for that mother and wish her, as well as all of you, the very best as we begin a new year. Since we're on the topic of a new year, what are your resolutions for the new year?
Well, I don't really have a ton of that. Just,
What are your hopes for the new year?
My hopes are, everyone, fire staff, police staff, everyone in the community, with everything that's been going on, just everyone stays healthy.
Yes.
So that'd be good for everyone involved, I think.
Mentally healthy and physically healthy.
Absolutely.
Just overall better than it has been.
Just gotta keep moving forward and progressing and stay healthy.
Yes.
So that will make everyone happy, I think.
I think so.
We're out of time. We thank you for watching.
There are plenty of opportunities to check us out on air and online. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time. We gotta do the whole thing all over again? Ugh.
Just practice it. It's gonna take a few.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I start. That's right.
Great. Hold on, I'm weeping again.
All right.
Just okay.
Yeah,
That was good. It was like you memorized it.
It was.
You were looking
I
at
changed part of the line, but
You went with it. It was
just kinda
super close
kept
though.
going.
It was really good.
Absolutely.
I suppose we probably should have had them.
No, I thought that was it.
No, one-liner.
I
Yep,
thought we covered it.
should.
Yes, we should. Yep. It helps just
We're
a
only
little
on page
to
2.
something.
Top of page 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, page 2.
So got another whole page.
All right. 3, 2. See what I'm doing there? 1.
Hi. Oh, you're so sweet. His name is Enzo. Enzo.
It helps to think a little bit about a story that. Oh yeah.
That's hot?
Yeah. Well, sorry, I looked at the sun for a second.
No, you can't look away. It's hard to look away.
Stop.
That's gonna be our thing now. Stop.